Today, we're going to talk about public opinion and the media on Thursday, but you can't separate them, so we're going to do a little bit of both today. Aren't you glad y'all heard that the first time? Isn't that good? Let's start over. All right, we're going to talk about public opinion are the public attitudes about it could be politics. It could be some sort of event, some sort of person, whatever. Where does this come from? Why, in 2016, why was Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton running against each other? Why did people vote for or against for them? Okay, you got the championships, the playoffs. There's several people running for president. This year there was about 25 Democrats running for president. There was about 2 or 3 maybe Republicans running. Everybody knew Trump was going to get that. How did Joe Biden become the Democratic nominee out of those 25?
An awful Super Tuesday for Bernie Sanders.
The media decided that's who they wanted. How did Donald Trump get to be the Republican, because he ain't a Republican, the Republican nominee for president? The media decided. Yeah, the media decided. If they report on you, even if it's negative, if they give you attention, that means we're going to give them attention. If they ignore Nancy, bless you, Nancy, can't even say her name, Klobuchar, or what is it? Klobuchar. Ever heard of her? It's because the media decided y'all didn't need to hear about her. They'd make her a big deal. I forget the lady's name that was running for president for the Republicans in 2016. She was the former CEO of Hewlett Packard. CEO of Hewlett Packard. You ever heard of Hewlett Packard? Computer company? It's an international company. If you're the CEO of Hewlett Packard, you got to deal with foreign countries. You're running the show. You got to make payrolls. Could you be president if you could run Hewlett Packard? Yes, you could. Media decided she's not important. I really liked her. I thought she'd do a fantastic job. But nobody knew about her because the media decided you don't need to know about her. The media makes our decisions for us. The only reason we know something about something is because somebody somewhere told us about it. Does that make sense? They're in control of us. And you can find a media outlet that will serve your purpose. If your purpose is hating Donald Trump, you can go to MSNBC and you will be enthralled with what you see every day. They play to your thoughts and your ideas, and they build on your stereotypes. If you love Donald Trump, maybe not as much now, but way more than MSNBC, you go to Fox and you will get your fill of Donald Trump is good. He's not. You can go somewhere and make yourself feel comfortable and see what you want to see. Does that make sense? But they create our opinions. You have that opinion because there's some media outlet somewhere that's pumping stuff out and giving you information. Do you get where you only know stuff that they tell us about? If they don't tell us about, there's always it's kind of died down recently, but for years, there's always a blonde-headed girl getting kidnapped that we all cared about. About every 6 months, there'd be some blonde-headed girl, little tiny blonde-headed girl that got kidnapped, and the whole country cared about her. Well, there's about 50,000 kids that got kidnapped that we didn't know about, but this one we decided we knew it. And they decided we're going to care about this person. So I'm not bad-mouthing little tiny blonde-headed girls, but does that make sense? They decide what we think is important. If they don't think it's important, we won't think it's important. Some values, all right? Y'all heard of this before. The book said, and this I buy this, your values are your core beliefs, your principal beliefs, your foundation. right? If a house does not have a foundation, what's going to happen to that house? It's going to fall down. If a ship does not have a rudder, the rudder is a little thing in the back, that a little piece of wood that slides down that decides where it goes. If there's no rudder, airplanes have rudders in the back. If there's no rudders, what's going to happen to that boat or that plane? Does it get to control where it goes? It's just going to go wherever. If you do not have core foundational values, you have no values. Now, I thought about this today. I have to decide if I'm going to get fired or not. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Because it's America. This could be the last day you see me. Is this exciting? Isn't this exciting? Y'all don't even have a house painter. Imagine me, I got a house painter. Right? If I say, yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. My core belief is God's word is the Bible, and what He says goes. That's my foundation. Do I do that all the time? No, I'm an idiot human being. But that's where my goal is to get most of my decisions from. If I make my own decisions, I'm going to eat the ice cream. I'm going to do this that feels good right now this second. And that's not good. Because when you eat the ice cream, yes, you like the ice cream. And then when you're done, you push away, you sit there, and what happens? Y'all haven't gotten there yet. Push it away, I go, oh. Why? Why? You know, well, because it tasted good, and I wanted to eat ice cream. And then when it's done, I'm like, crap, I wish I hadn't have done that. I wish I'd had the broccoli or the salad. You know, does that make sense? I believe sex, which is amazing, is for marriage. That's what I believe. You can't. I believe that. Sex outside of marriage, outside of God's plan, won't turn out very good in the long run. If you want to sleep around with everybody you want to, there's going to be some problems caused by that. Does that make sense? I believe sex is between a man and a woman when they have committed to God that we're going to stay together forever. There's way less problems if that happens. There's no sexually transmitted diseases. There's no unplanned pregnancies, which, by the way, there is no such thing as an unplanned pregnancy. If you have sex, you have planned to have a kid. Okay? That's what you do to have a kid, by the way. That's what makes a children. So you can't say, well, I didn't plan it. Well, yeah, you did. I didn't mean to kill them. Well, why'd you have a loaded gun pointed at their head? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't want to kill them. Well, don't do that, okay? So, if I say, I want to have sex with blank, whatever, fill in the blank. If you reject what I say, and I believe that my beliefs, can you really put any limits on it? If you're going to say, no, I don't want that limitation, and say, I want to have sex with this person because that's what I want, can you really tell someone else, no, that's really not right? That sexual idea or that sexual desire really isn't right. I believe you really can't. If you're going to say, no, you shouldn't limit that, I should be able to do what I want, then really you shouldn't say, I'll tell somebody else, you can't do what you want. Does that kind of make sense? So if you don't have a core foundational belief, if your core foundational belief is, I want to do what I want to do, you really don't have a core foundational belief. You're just doing what you feel like doing. Anyway. see if I can hear them all. This is gonna be awesome. Can't wait.
Christy, I might let me hear.
Okay, political ideology. Political ideology is obviously the way you feel politically. It's based on your core beliefs, and it's I can't explain this, but y'all know what I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna jump ahead. There is Republican, there is Democrat. There's about 50 other political parties that about 7 people belong to. There is conservative and there is liberal. If you want a liberal amount of salt, if the recipe says I want a liberal amount of salt, what does that mean? Extra. So a liberal ideology means extra. If you're conservative, a conservative amount of salt is what? A little bit. So when it comes to government, a true conservative is going to say, I want government. A true liberal is going to say, I want government. Does that make sense? A liberal is going to say the government should make the decisions. If there's a problem, the government should try to solve it. Conservative would say, I don't need government in my life. I need to fix my own problems. If this is true, what happens to taxes? Taxes are small because the government's not doing much. If you don't do much at work, you don't pay much. You don't have many hours, you don't get paid very much. Because of this, what are taxes?
Expenditures.
They're huge. So you got to pay for all this. Now, let me be biased here, okay? I'm going to be very biased. Who's paying this? Rich people. Why? Because they can. They're rich. They can afford it. We'll get to that in a second. That's my personal belief. Now, my personal belief about taxes is, well, we'll get to that. Now, this is fiscal conservatives. That word fiscal means money. Fiscal conservatives don't want a whole lot of government programs, and they want taxes to be lowered. On the flip side, if I have a problem, I can't go crying to the government and say, oh, I need help. Okay? You gotta live out what you believe. Sometimes your situation will change what you really believe. Say, I did get fired. Now I don't know how this unemployment crap works. But, okay, I might want the government to give me unemployment insurance. Well, I got some money, I want to eat. So, all of a sudden, I might flip and be a lot more liberal based on my situation. Does that make sense? You might be dirt poor and think the rich should pay a bunch of taxes. All of a sudden, you might do something, and now you're rich. You're like, whoa, wait, time out. Whoa, what's this? What's my money going to? Why? How are you taking all my money? Does that make sense? Sometimes the situation can change this. That's fiscal. There's social. Conservative, social liberal. Social liberals would take what I just said a minute ago and try to slap me in the face. You cannot do that. You cannot judge someone else, and you cannot. Okay, all right, that's fine. There's liberal social ideas about people's lives and people's activities, and there's social conservatives. I'm a social conservative. I'm also a fiscal conservative. Some people might be fiscal liberals, but social conservatives. They might want the government to solve problems, but they might be against gay marriage. They might be, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Or they could be conservative fiscally, but socially be very liberal. They might want to keep their own money and take care of their own stuff, but they believe everybody should make their own decisions, and there's no yes or no, and it's not my place to tell you what to do. So that idea makes sense, conservative, liberal. Now I put Republicans here, I put Democrats here, which is kind of not actually true. Democrats at the national level are always liberal, always. You cannot be anti-abortion and be a national Democrat. It's not allowed. Can't do it. You can be Republican and be pro-abortion, and they'll still let you hang out. They might not talk to you much, but they'll still let you hang out. Democrats, you're not allowed. Not a ton of Republicans are conservative. A ton of Republicans are okay? They talk this, but they vote in all kinds of programs and they add to the debt just like Democrats do. But Democrats are the Muslims of politics. They actually live out what they believe. Republicans are the American Christians of politics. They say things, but then they act a different way. Does that make sense? So, did I just badmouth Muslims? No. I badmouth too. Christians. Yeah, American Christians. There's not many American Christians. There's a lot of Americans saying I'm a Christian, but not a lot of American Christians. They'd be like, okay, all this Packer stuff. And then the game, when the game's playing, I'm wearing a Vikings jersey. That's American Christians. They like the Vikings. Now let's look at this. I'm getting out of hand here. Not out of hand. I'm getting where do political attitudes come from? I'm fiscally and socially conservative. How did I get here? Y'all have political ideas. Where'd you get them from? Okay. Where you grew up. That's got a big influence on what you think about life and what you think about what should and shouldn't happen. I was born and I was adopted by this couple who I would never, ever, ever, ever pick. Ever. Last round draft pick, Fred and Barbara Robb. Fantastic people, wiped my butt, cleaned up my throw up. I'm eternally grateful to them. Their house is nothing like mine. Every supper was horrible. Guess what was playing in the background of every supper we ever had? Not really, but I could hear it. Because everything, we had plates and forks and another plate here with a fork and a knife. And this plate goes here, and this fork goes here, and this goes. Guess what we don't have at my house?
Fork.
We got forks, but if you want one, you can get one if you want. And everybody gets a different team cup, so that way you know what your cup is. Now, why do I do that? Did my parents influence me?
Yes.
Yes, they did. They pushed me the other way. I mean, I actively said, I will never do my house like this. So they had a big influence on me. Even though I didn't copy them, I went opposite. And your family might have a big influence on your political ideas. I have no idea what my mom and dad thought about politics. Pacer and Colt know everything that I think about politics. It's not right or wrong. It's just where you grew up, where you went to school. Now, think about it. And also, if you grow up in Paradise, Texas, is that different than growing up in inner city Houston? Yes. Is that different than growing up in Berkeley, California? Is that different than growing up in Kansas? Yeah. So where you grow up, you see and experience and hear different things. And that's going to influence you the rest of your life. Whether it's true or not, whether it's, and you develop these ideas about other people, whether they're true or not. And where you go to school, not just elementary school, high school, if you end up going to college somewhere. I went to 7 years of school. Went to 1 year, didn't count. That was a wasted year at UTA. I graduated in 4 years, Austin College, and then got my master's in 2. Had different work schedules and all kinds of different weird stuff, but I came out of it unscathed. They didn't get me. The education class, first one I was in, it wasn't as bad. I say bad. Okay, I'm conservative. If you do end up going to some college, because of where y'all have grown up, y'all have not been bombarded with a ton of liberal ideology. Maybe some. But I'm going to assume not a whole lot. You go to college, you are going to get slapped in the face with so much liberal ideology and thought. I came out of it unscathed. My education teacher, the first day, anybody think about being a teacher? Okay. Education classes are the worst. You just smile and get through it. That's what I did. I didn't learn anything. I didn't pay attention because the first day, the guy said, first thing, never tell a child they're wrong. You could damage their self-esteem. This is 1987, this guy said that. And I raised my hand. I said, so we're going to let them be idiots, but they'll feel good about themselves? That's a poor attitude, Mr. Riles. Okay. And then I learned that just shut up. I almost quit school then. I can't do this. I said, shut up, get a degree, and go do what you need to do. But I will always tell you if you're wrong, because I don't want you to be an idiot out there and feel good about yourself. You should feel good about yourself because of things you've done. There's another one. I might get canned for that too. No, you should build my child's self-esteem so they feel good no matter what. No, you shouldn't feel good no matter what. You shouldn't. Plus, self-esteem can't come from me. Self-esteem comes from self-esteem. If your self-esteem is based on other people, life is going to be just horrifically crappy for y'all. So don't do that. But does this make sense? Okay, what about your occupation? Is that going to affect your political attitudes? You might be the most liberal person in the world, but all of a sudden you get a job with an oil company and you're in charge of fracking. You might be a lot less liberal after that, right? They start coming after fracking, which, would it make sense that fracking is not the greatest thing environmentally? It's probably causing some problems. I don't know. It makes sense that pumping a bunch of crap in the ground could jack some things up down there. But I like getting a living. I like my kids to eat. I like paying a house payment. So I have made a living working with fracking before. I cleaned a frack tank. Did I tell y'all about that one? I'm a man. I have a man. What are you laughing at me from, Chick? I have sat on a bull at a PBR event. I have sat on a bull wearing Adriano Mariah. Look up PBR Hall of Fame. Adriano Mariah's vest. He's talking to me. I'm not listening to a thing. I'm on this bull. I'm going, I'm on the bull. I'm on a bull. We were supposed to ride steers to promote this little bull riding thing they had about 15 years ago. And we show up and go, oh, we don't have any steers. We got the bulls. And I'm like, I'm not going to go, oh, no, I'm not doing that. No. I said, all right, yeah. And inside I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. I just signed that if I die, I won't sue you and stuff. I get up there and I'm sitting there and my bull twice tried to jump the fence. Tried to jump that twice. Tuff Hedeman, y'all know who Tuff Hedeman is? Once again, look up PBR Hall of Fame. Tuff Hedeman was the guy pulling the gate. He was in front of me, and this is what he did. The second time my bull tried to, he was like, and I saw his face, and I crapped my pants, and I cried. And little Colt was like 4. He's in the stands, Mama's video, and he's like, anyway, I have sat on a bull. I didn't ride him, but I sat on a bull and survived. So that's an Vanguard by itself. I've cleaned a frack tank. I've cleaned 2 frack tanks. Frack tanks are the big trailer-looking things at the well sides. You ever see them? They look like big trash dumpsters is what they are with wheels. And you go in there and they're about yay deep, full of wet, chemical-infused sand. A metal box with a tiny hole there, and you climb in July when it's 110, wet sand-filled metal box. The humidity is about 9,000%. And they put a fire hose in there and give you a squeegee. And there's a hole at the bottom here. One person holds the fire hose and so you're adding more water to the hot, humid, 110-degree metal box. And you try to scrape all the stuff out the hole. It takes about 45 minutes. That's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I sat, it takes 45 minutes to clean each one. After about 5 minutes, I looked at the little square that we climbed through, and I couldn't get through. It was hard for me to get through, not because of my gut. I couldn't get my shoulders through, which made me feel really good. I couldn't get my shoulders through there. Wasn't the gut keep me out. And I thought, how are we going to pull my lifeless body out of this box when I die in here? So anyway, I've cleaned 2 frac tanks and I've been on the bull at PBR events. So I'm a man for the rest of my life. No matter what, I can wear a dress every day. I'm still a man. Doesn't matter. Your occupation is going to affect your political attitudes, right? What about if you're a parent versus being a single person? Does that affect your political attitude? So I tell you, all of a sudden, you think about things, you think you know stuff, you really don't. All of a sudden you go, oh crap, whoa, that thing there. By yourself is way different than, oh my gosh, there's a thing here. And you might quit breathing, and I've got to make sure, and I don't want him to die, Anyway. So your political attitudes, right now, you got your could they change in the next few years? Yeah. They could. You never know. You might get smarter, you might get dumber. Anyway, let's see what we got. All right. Libertarian. If I was going to claim anything, this is not libertarian. Close enough. Libertarian is a political party that you could win some local office. You could win like a state office. You'll never win a national like senator or president right now, maybe later. This is probably the most conservative you can get. They are so anti-government. They believe there ought to be just enough government to survive. Just barely enough to survive. They are so anti-government, they are against any kind of drug laws because it's your responsibility. It's not the government's responsibility, it's your responsibility. That's where I draw the line, because I can't go for allowing a bunch of high people running around. I want less high people running around, so I don't go for that. But I'm all for it's your responsibility. It's not the government's. So they're they're the anti-federalists still around. A socialist. You ever heard of a socialist? Socialist is more liberal than a Democrat. Matter of fact, a lot of Democrats are socialists. I say a lot. There are some Democrats who are socialists. Not as much around here. A Texas Democrat is more like a New York Republican. They tend to be less liberal because Texas generally has been less liberal, but they're more liberal than most Texans. You go to a New York Democrat or a San Francisco Democrat, they're going to be usually different than a Texas Democrat, usually. But a socialist is a liberal on steroids. They want to say the government is the answer. And the government should control more stuff. Government should run everything, and almost all of our paycheck go to pay taxes for everything, and the government makes decisions about it. What's good about socialism? Needs to get taken care of. There'll probably be less homeless. There might be less hungry going on. Flip side is, the government's making all the decisions about it. And nobody can really get ahead because a lot of your money is going to taxes. What are y'all going to do this year in June, July, August? You're going to be moving. I'm going to say, no, you're moving. You will not stay with mom and dad. That is not the option. You're going to go off somewhere. Yes, I'm staying for a couple of years. I get it. My 21-year-old is living with us right now. But I get all that, and I've even told him. I've shifted a little bit. My personal belief from the little boy was born, I told little Christy, we gotta make the plate. She said, what plate? I said, the plate. Make a plate with his name in it. And on the 18th birthday, you have a ceremony, you walk outside, you hand him the plate. He gets to look at it. You say, give me the plate. You take it and it breaks. Now go out and get your own plate. Yeah. I told him, if you get a coaching job nearby, if you want to stay with us for a while and save some money, because I didn't do that, I didn't save money, I'll let you. He does not want to live with us. We really don't want him living with us. It's weird when he comes back. If you go away and you come back, it's weird. The reason it's weird is because it's not supposed to be like that. Okay, but anyway, does that kind of make sense? All right. So libertarian, socialist. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He says he's a socialist. I respect that. What I don't respect is some person who's a socialist who won't say they're a socialist. I can live with Bernie Sanders. I believe the government. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. I can live with you. If Bernie Sanders is our president, I can live with that because I know exactly what he's going to do. I hate the person that lies and says, I'm not a socialist, and they're doing all this crap. Anyway. Yeah, Coach Riley, you just shut up. I know I should, but I get paid for this. Okay, let's look at page 228. I got this on here. I get my I tore a page. I didn't just tore. I don't know how that happened. Golly, how that happened like that? Huh?
That's why we can't have anything that.
I know. Okay, where do we get here? Wow, sources. All right, I'm going to read this whole part. I thought this was good. There's another part I'm going to read because I think it's bad.
I don't care what you think. You're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
Funny? Okay. As mentioned above, political knowledge may protect individuals from exposure to misinformation that can distort public opinion. While social media has created new platforms for organizing and voter mobilizing, discussing politics, and creating networks, it has also been associated with increased misinformation. News on Facebook, with its billions users globally, was extensive in the 2016 election. A study found the top 10 false news stories circulated on Facebook were shared more widely than the top 10 authentic news stories about the election. The most viral story on Facebook was that the Pope had endorsed Trump for president. Russian Twitter, quote, bot accounts have been linked to rank in many of the fake news stories. Since the election, both Google and Facebook have implemented new protocols to block content from deceptive outlets, and Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram deleted thousands of fake accounts. Misinformation from elected officials and online news has encouraged more Americans to seek websites such as PolitiFact, FactCheck.org, and Snopes.com to verify the content of political information. It's also encouraged more Americans to turn to established media outlets such as the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and New York Times for news. Are they biased? Yes. Yeah, all that is biased. Political knowledge and accurate political news is more important now than ever. Is it harder now than ever? There's more crap out there, more stuff out there to find. Is it less likely that you're more informed now than we were 50 years ago? Because who knows what it is? Who knows what's real? And what are they developing now? What have they developed now? They can make fake videos that are real. And there can be a video of me slapping a girl in class. And I didn't do it. But they can have that video out there and have my voice. And, 5 years from now, we'll never know the difference. That's awesome. That's exciting. I'm excited about the future. So anyway, what's the takeaway from that? Is it going to get easier or harder to know what's actually going on in the future? Way harder. Y'all have more information at your fingertips now, and we're less informed than we ever have been, because we will pay attention to something we like. We will give credit to something that verifies my stereotype or my belief. I will believe that instead of, and these places know that, so they play to you and they pump stuff out there, and you will, if you see something, if you hate Trump and you see something that says something bad about him, you'll start telling everybody, this is what happened, this happened, this happened. Why? Because that's what you want to have happen. If you love Trump and there's something to say how great he is, you'll pat, this is what happened. And both of it's probably wrong. So we got to be really, really careful. 50 years ago, you'd read the newspaper and there'd be like a 3-page story on something. Today, you go to whatever it is, .com, and find like a 1-paragraph story on the same thing. Which one's better?
Pages.
3-page story that goes into detail and maybe shows 2 different angles of it. Then the little sound bite, the little headline. Trump is an idiot. Trump loyalists tell us what idiot he is. Oh yeah, I believe that. Well, who knows? Maybe Trump fired him. Maybe it's not real. Maybe somebody made it up. Maybe it's real. Who knows? We'll pay attention to what makes us comfortable. That's what I was trying to say. Does that make sense? If something makes us comfortable and we like it, we're going to use it, believe it, pay attention to it. Something that goes against what we're comfortable with, what's wrong? It's fake news. It's not luxurious or tremendous. All right. Here's something they don't talk about much, but this is an example of what the media might do to us. When President Bush became president, he implemented the Bush tax cuts. In those tax cuts, the rich benefited exponentially better than the poor. They got millions and millions and millions more money back than the poor did. That's a true fact. Here's what the tax cuts were. These were the tax codes back then. 15%, 28%, 31%, 36%, 39.6%. The more you made, the bigger percentage. If you fell into this tax bracket, you paid this much. The Bush tax cuts cut those down to 10%, 5%, 28%, 33%, and 35%. So the richest Americans got their taxes cut by 4.4. Is that right? Am I right there?
Yeah.
Okay. The poorest Americans got their taxes cut by 5. Is that right?
I think it's 30.
3.4.
No, because it's,
No?
no, because it's 39 not 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got millions and millions more dollars back than the poor did. Why?
Because they make them.
They make them. So yes, they're going to get their cut is going to mean a bigger amount of money. Who got the benefit of the tax cut more? Poorest Americans. It's a true statement. They benefited more money-wise than the poor did, but they paid in more. So the media, that's an example of the media reporting something that's true, but it distorts the story. The middle class, did the middle class benefit the least? 3%. They benefited the least. They benefited way less than the poor, they benefited less than the rich. But everybody got a tax cut. And the media reported like the rich is the only ones that got a tax cut. Everybody else got crapped on. I want to read you this little cartoon here from Calvin and Hobbes. Y'all read Calvin and Hobbes went away long before y'all were born. It's one of the best cartoons ever. I even bought little books. I don't do this stuff like that. I bought little books at their cartoon. I bet your family's seen them. Yeah, I bet they're like all over your guys. This is a little boy reading this to his dad. It says, here's the latest poll on your performance as dad. Your approval rating is pretty low, I'm afraid. That's because there's not necessarily any connection between what's good and what's popular. I do what's right, not what gets approval. You never will get to keep the job with that attitude. If someone else offers to do it, let me know. So, we don't like what's good for us. We won't vote for, if someone was to come in and say, look, I'm going to cut a bunch of programs that help y'all out because our government can't afford it anymore. We can't go into debt anymore. I'm just going to cut those things so y'all ain't going to get as much from the government. Nobody's voting for that person, right? If you asked Americans, do we need to cut our spending? Everybody says yes. We do need to cut our spending. What are they going to say no to every time?
The things that affect them.
Things that affect them. Oh, don't. Everybody wants the dump. Everybody wants a landfill, but you always see those signs, no landfill. You know, nobody wants to live next door to the landfill, but everybody wants their trash taken away. Right? Y'all want the trash taken away, but don't bring it towards my house. Take it over there. You know, somebody's got to live next to the dumpster. Somebody's got to live next to the landfill. We got to cut some programs. Somebody's going to lose some of their stuff they're used to having. You know, but all right, we'll finish some of this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Thursday. We'll talk about polls, which is fun. Hope some of this works. Golly, I got half already. All right. Thanks a lot. Was that as bad as chemistry? No. Chemistry teachers are amazing. I feel sorry for them. Them and like math teachers. It's hard. I can make this semi-entertaining, kind of. Be tough. All right, today we're going to add B plus C. Woo-hoo, and find the sign. We're going to find the sign and the tangent. Horrible job.